I'm Brendon Ayanbadejo, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'm Peod Theory, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. My guy Roman, he got the black and white up top. He got the black and white shirt. He got the Concord J's on. What's up, dog? Don't hurt nothing now.
Feeling good, dog. Good morning.
Coming to you from the LA studios. We feeling live and we lit right now. What's up?
Well, when you call me out, I got to do it. So thank you first and foremost. Thank you, Peanut, for always being yourself. And the introduction only gets weirder every time we do this. And we're going to introduce our guest in just a second. But first and foremost, thank all of our listeners, our viewers out there, anywhere you pick up podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio podcasts. Thank you so much for always tuning in. Shout out to iHeartRadio, taking care of us. Last time we were in New York, now we're in LA. We continue to travel. This thing continues to move. We continue to grow. And we'll have more and more listeners. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Continue to hit us. Give us 5-star rating. Give us a rating, a review. Click that follow button. Thomas, you like that one. Peanut, who we got today?
He back there smiling. I'm Peod Theory. We got a great show for you today. One of my old teammates is going down. 10-year vet, 3-time Pro Bowler, won Super Bowl 47. I wish it would have been with the Bears, but it was with that other team.
Yeah, but you were on the team, Peanut. Clearly, if you're on the team, you don't win Super Bowl.
Yeah. But he won Super Bowl 47. He is a business icon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brendon Ayanbadejo.
Woo, woo, woo. All right. No, I'm going to start this one off. So, Brendon, could you please share with the people when you first saw Peanut what you said?
Cacahuate.
Cacahuate.
And what does that mean?
It's not what it sounds like. It's just peanut in Spanish.
It's just peanut in Spanish,
Yeah, and so
we go way back.
You guys clearly go way back. Yeah. And when you guys greet each other the way you do, and all of a sudden everybody else in the room feels a little bit like, what?
Yeah.
What is that? You guys just break that out. I thought that was a very
just like old times.
Yeah.
You know, we go chest to chest.
Yes, sir.
Get on the left side so you can feel my heartbeat.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, 1,000.
Bring in that
100. 100.
I like that.
When you go through a tragedy like losing a Super Bowl together, that makes you real tight.
Yes, sir.
This is why we're together right now. This is like, actually, yes, you're correct.
Hey, I still get cars.
We're right here.
I still have, but the bad part, I shouldn't say bad part. Good part for you is you actually won Super Bowl 47. Like, I'm 0-2, you're 1-1. You're 1-1. Yeah, 0-2, 1-1, 1-1. Yeah, like that stuff hurt. I haven't fully recovered.
You guys is a little bit different situation though, because you lost yours first, then you won it the second time. I won it first, then I lost it the second time. So it's still different emotions. I'm not trying to get in this whole Super Bowl, mine's better than yours, or you don't have this. And so
I feel you, yeah.
But it is a different emotion because once you win it once, you understand you want it for all your next up teammates. You want them to be able to share that info, that feeling, that emotion. But when you actually lose it first and then win it, I guess it is like this one thing is like, oh my gosh, you never know if you're going to get back.
Right.
You never know how you're going to get there. And all of a sudden you win it again. I'm sure it's very special.
Yeah, I think winning it was the last game I ever played in. And I kind of had an inkling that it was going to be the last game I ever played in. And so just that whole season, just hearing the national anthem and just playing and lacing them up, I kind of, had a feeling it was going to be my last season. It was Ray Lewis's last season, and a lot of other guys as well. We had a lot of vets on that team.
Yeah.
Man, I would cry like a baby every time I would hear the anthem. And then, of course, for the Super Bowl, cried like a baby.
Yeah.
And but luckily got that monkey off my back and got the win. But I do have one regret from the Super Bowl that I played with Peanut and we lost, is that I didn't go to the post-game celebration. And if I could do all that stuff over again, I would do all the post-game. I would just do everything because it is special to get there.
Yes.
It's really rare and special to win, but it's still very special to get there. And I didn't appreciate it like I should have.
I remember the night because Common performed. Common was there. He performed, but it was still just kind of bittersweet, though. It was just like,
yeah, because you didn't win.
Because you didn't win. Like, don't get me wrong, Common from Chicago, he out there freestyling, doing his thing. It was just like, it just was it put a damper.
It was a dud.
Yeah, it was just like,
it was a dud.
I mean, Yeah.
Brendon, all right. So first question, could you please tell us how to say your real name? I know how to say it. I've done some research. So could you please share with the people what your real name is and what it also means?
Right. So I'll take you back to the motherland. And a lot of people that know me, they know I'm half Nigerian and half Irish, but I always say I'm 100% black. That doesn't matter, right? But
it does matter.
Name. No, I mean, it matters, but I'm just, I'm just giving you some extra, extra color on the situation.
I appreciate it.
But so my real name is Oladele, and so the Nigerian side, traditionally, your grandparents will name you. And I was born in the States, but my grandma knew that I was going to be coming home to Nigeria very soon. And so she named me Wealth Follows Me Home, which is Oladele. And we played with a lot of Nigerian teammates, Adwale Ogunle, Israeli Donije, Babatunde, like so many. Even my brother had a stint, Obafemi had a stint with us. But so just traditionally, your grandparents will name you. And it's basically like Michael, It's a very common name.
Well, I didn't know that until all of a sudden I read about yours. And then I actually learned what this my son's friend's name was, and also yours as well. But how did you, that's your name is Oladele, but
right.
You go by Brendon. Right. So how did that kind of transition, or how did that happen?
That's the Irish side.
Oladele. Irish Brendon. Man, so what it was I was born in Chicago, so that's why it was special for me to play with the Bears, which won a Super Bowl with the Bears. And then we moved to Nigeria, then we came back to Chicago.
Oh.
And then
how long were you in Nigeria?
Just like 3 years.
Okay.
And then when I was 10, we left Chicago, where I went by Dele, which is normal to chop off the prefix. So like my brother's name's Obafemi, or Adwale Ogunle, you call him Wale.
Wale, yeah.
Obafemi, you call him Femi, right? Even the singer Sade, she has a prefix on her name, and she goes by Sade, right? So I went by Dele, and then that was fine in Chicago. That worked in Chicago. We kind of ethnic in Chicago. Yeah. But then I moved to Santa Cruz, California, and Dele, no one could say Dele. So really? a lot of people that know me, if they call me Dele, they knew me before I was 10 years old. Yeah. After 10, I started going by Brendon when I got to Santa Cruz, because I say I went from gangsters to granola, moving from Chicago to Santa Cruz, California. Like, we had Whole Foods before they had Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, just call me Brendon. Like, why can't just Jason, Brendon, whatever.
You got real normal.
Go by Brendon. Yeah, I had to lose the Nigerianness a little bit. I had to dial it down a little bit.
Yeah. I feel that. Santa Cruz, Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. I went there one time back in 6th grade when I lived in Monterey. Old school. Yeah. Good times. Northern Cal, baby. You don't know nothing about that, though.
I don't. I mean.
Yeah, and they didn't call you Peanut there. They had to call you Charles or Charlie when you went to Santa Cruz.
Yeah, for sure. It was Charles all day. It was my government name.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah, I don't even know you as that person.
No, not at all. Most people don't. Most people know me as Peanut. Like my good friends. Yeah, y'all know me as Peanut.
But why is it Peanut Charles though? Like, why do they got to say both? Why can't they just say Peanut?
I don't know. That's just kind of how it is. I don't know. That's just kind of how it.
That means they don't know you that well. Maybe
that means they don't know me that well. It is what it is. So let's dive back into it. So my first question to you is locker room. You played 10 years. I'm a 13-year guy. You're a 12-year guy. And
11, but thank you.
What?
I played 11.
Oh, okay. What'd I say, 10?
No, you said 12.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're a 11-year guy.
Don't discount.
No, he gave me one extra. I mean, I'll take it. I just
one extra. My bad.
Yeah. I'll take it, but I just
take it.
Just want to be correct. Go ahead, please.
So, when you were with the Ravens, you were very open about gay rights and talking about that. And I think one of the things that I didn't know, but doing my research, is the owner was really giving you support and telling you not to be silenced. And I know one of the congressmen in Maryland tried to silence you. Was like, well, you need to silence him and tell him to be quiet. But the ownership in Baltimore really backed you up and said, oh no, we support him and what he's talking about, and we love what he's doing, and we want him to have a voice and talk about what he feels is right. Can you talk about what it felt like to have the owner of the Ravens behind you, and what it was like to have the support of your teammates in the locker room?
Going back to that situation and really thinking about it, I had started my advocacy in 2009. And this kind of came to a head in 2012. Delegate Burns, an elected official in the city of Baltimore, he wrote a cease and desist letter and sent it to the Baltimore Sun. So I wake up one day, because I was raffling like tickets away. I was, I take my tickets, whatever tickets I had, and if you donated to a charity, equal rights, marriage equality charity, then, you know, I would give you the ticket. So I was trying to raise money for awareness, you know. So he basically told me to stop. And, you know, from our generation, if someone tells you to stop doing something, a lot of times could you lose your job? Yeah, you know, but it's like, what are you going to do? Like, what are the ramifications if you don't comply? Yeah. You know?
You ain't doing anything illegal.
Right. But like at the time, it was just a very controversial issue.
For sure. Yeah.
You know? And when I've read about it too, I didn't realize how different it was at the time. Like, this wasn't that long ago. And you were like so out of step of what not only the NFL was doing, but also your community, and a very, you know, very democratic place in Baltimore. Like, it seems to be, and I'm not trying to be so political, but when you look at it in today's landscape in 2023, it's just different. And for you to be considered the first, and it wasn't that long ago, I think that's another testament to you and your story as well. And what you were standing for was on the right side of things. And we look at it as history.
You look back and you're like, how did we do that? You look back and like, how did America ever have segregation? How did women not be able to have this? I mean, still today, women don't get paid the same as men. Mm-hmm. And if you're a black woman, you get paid even less than anybody, right? So like, how do we still have inequalities in our society, in America, the land of the free, the home of the brave? Like, gay people didn't even, if you were, they didn't have marriage equality rights. Obama didn't even talk about marriage equality yet.
Right.
There was no Black Lives Matters yet. Like, none of these things were even exposed, you know? So that's why it was so big for me to talk about equal rights and start with marriage, being that one of my parents is black and one is white. And in America, in the 60s, you had Loving versus Virginia. You couldn't even, a black and a white person in the South couldn't even get married.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about love is love, and we're talking about two people of the same gender being able to get married. So once again, like, I thought it was a fight on equality, a fight against equality. So it was important for me to stand up for other people, even though I wasn't a part of that demographic, because there's other people that stood on the side of us having the rights that we have.
Do you think that's more based upon, all right, the way you were raised? Like, where does that come from? And then also maybe tell us on because I'm sure you had some kind of pushback or somebody against the grain and let's speak of it from the locker room terms.
Right.
Then maybe the city, like when people saw you, or because you were recognizable, and they don't know you're not the same person then. You were much bigger. You're not as ripped up, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I think like the type of guy that I am, a lot of people are like, oh, that guy is gay. You know, like I do my eyebrows, or, you know, I look a certain kind of way. Like I was a metrosexual guy like before people were doing that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, oh, he's definitely gay, or he's putting on a front, or like, why is he so adamant about equal rights? And being that I had a black and a white parent, like my parents kind of taught me about those things, you know, like, oh, there are inequalities in America. Like, yeah, I love this country and I think it's the greatest country on earth, but it's got a lot of effed up stuff going on in this country.
A lot of flaws.
Yeah, a lot of flaws, right? And there's like, how do we change those things? Well, me being a professional athlete, having the platform that I have, like I have the ability to change the landscape. So I took the chance in 2009, you know, Britney Spears went to Las Vegas and she married her friend, and she instantly had more rights than some of my friends that had been in monogamous gay relationships for a decade. She instantly in Vegas had more rights with her and whoever she got married to for a day or 2 days or however long it was. So I'm like, man, I have a chance to make a change and make a difference. And so the first thing that happened is like, I showed up at work the next day and some of that stuff went viral because I did an op-ed in the Huffington Post. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, Brendon's coming out. Brendon's coming out. I'm like, yeah, coming out for equal rights. You know, like I was very self-conscious about it at first, you know? And then I did think like, man, I could lose my job. Like when Delegate Burns, you know, wrote that op-ed.
Yeah.
And so it was very important that Dick Cass pulled me aside in the locker room. At the time, he was the president of the Ravens. And of course, he was in cahoots and talking to Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens. And they're like, yeah, let's give Brendon support and let him know that we support this issue. But at the time, the NFL had not done anything for gay rights. And they're still a little bit slow with some of the stuff. But now I think it's the in thing to do.
I don't think it's taboo anymore.
No, it's not. It's the in thing to do. Like, you're gonna do your little gay rights thing now because it's cool and they understand that like gay people, they have a lot of money. The LGBT community has a lot of money. They have a lot of sway. They have a lot of power, and they want you to spend their money on your products, you know? So not everybody does it, but back then it wasn't popping off like that.
I mean, there's always resistance when you want to fight against something, though. Like, I mean, we won't go down the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, but
right, he was very similar issue.
He was standing up for rights against black people and did a simple gesture, kneeling, and then, I mean, anytime you want to get a message across, you're going to meet some resistance. You know, like that's kind of like the norm. And I think if you don't get that resistance, people ain't really paying attention. So when you get that resistance, like you got the cease and desist letter, like, yeah, it was a big deal. And people, it brought attention, it brought awareness. People started listening. Okay, yeah, what is this about? It brought more attention to your calls, and
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of how it works.
Like even just saying, like, I'm not going to sit in the back of the bus. Like there was a whole Birmingham, like there was a whole thing. Like I'm not going to sit. Like I'm going to drink from this water fountain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah, most definitely.
It's hard to change minds. It's hard to change opinions. But I think you just got to kill them with kindness, and you just got to do it with love and come from a positive place. I think that's why Colin had so much divisive, like, you know, great message, but then you can't wear any cop killer stuff, you know, because that's not the right message. The right message is like, don't kill me because I'm black. Like you're a peace officer. You should be protecting me. And so, you know, like when you kind of have a controversial message, but it's the right thing, you got to make sure you always do it in the right way. And that's why MLK was so successful in changing.
He was very nonviolent. Told you to turn the other cheek. Mm-hmm. And so
that's tough to do when they're killing you.
It's really hard to do, but that's
try Jesus, not me, because I throw hands.
He's Nigerian, by the way.
Yes, he is.
Something that's not controversial, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to it. Both you guys were there. When Devin Hester returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I don't think that's ever been done before until he did that. I was watching it. You guys were both there.
No flag, 92 yards.
You had a critical block on that play. You went from a double team, then you went off and caught a guy on a single block outside to kind of spring them, keep the alley wide open for this touchdown. So how was that emotion? What was you guys' emotions on the sideline? Like, tell me what that's like. You wait on this game your whole life. All the flashing lights, everything on the first kickoff, you know what it's like.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you score on this play. Automatically, you got to be like, oh, this is over. It's a wrap. Like, we're about to just kill it. We're going to crush it. Take me through that emotion, that play. I've never witnessed or been a part of anything quite so dramatic.
I'm sure he will be different. I'll let BA you go real quick, and mine will be 100% completely different from his. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that in the Super Bowl with the Ravens and the Niners, Jacoby Jones also scored a touchdown.
I was going to go there, but...
And I was on the field, you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I will say Devin Hester's touchdown rate with BA on the field was a lot higher than when BA wasn't on the field. You know what I'm saying? But I think we have such a special thing, and Dave Tobe, which is our special teams coach, I'm surprised he's not a head coach.
You always talk about it. You talk about this guy all the time.
Dave Tobe, special teams, Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Special guy. But that's what we did. So, you know, like while I wasn't surprised that it happened so many times, multiple games with 2 touchdowns in a game, like that's what we did. And we won games on defense and special teams. That's just what we did. And every team I played on had that DNA, that special teams and defense. But to do it on the first play of the Super Bowl, we're like, oh, we're off to a great start. This is going to be a great night. Ended up being a tough night. But yeah, it felt amazing. And I think the thing that feels even better than watching it on the field is that I always see that play like once a week. Devin Hester's got to be a Hall of Famer. He's got to be. But to see him just do his thing.
I'm still the only guy in the room that's like, I don't know.
It's going to happen.
I'm the only guy in the room.
We played with them, but to play against them, you feared that man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was a game changer. So I think no one's ever been, you know, who's done what he's done.
And the rules are going to change, so it's not going to have as many opportunities.
So let's go for Super Bowl 47 real quick. There was a controversial, I don't know if it was a call, but they thought you were holding.
It was not a call.
It was not a call, but people thought you were holding with Jacoby.
Right.
Do you think you're holding?
I mean, I was holding, but I was holding within the rules because when you're in a double team, which most people don't know, is that you can hold somebody from the back on a double team. But on a normal block, you can't do that, right? Because naturally, if you double team somebody, they're going to try to spin out of it or do whatever. So the rules kind of apply differently. So you just need to know the rules. If you don't know the rules, then it is what it is. Then maybe I can give you the rule section in the NFL code 2.7, rule 7.5.
I agree. They allow you to hold in certain situations. Double teams on the outside versus gunners. Dude, you can hold them. Like
all day long.
You can.
All day long.
Nobody ever cares.
So to set that, so that was the first play of the second half.
Right.
Did the lights had already turned off?
I think it happened shortly after that, if I'm not mistaken.
It did. It was like
after,
because Baltimore really went up at that point. They were like, "Oh, shut this thing off before people turn channels."
The lights went.
Cut it off.
Coming back, start of the second half. They kick off. Jacoby to the house. 109, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's 109 yards.
And look at him go. Jones is past the 50, and he is flying inside the 20, and a kickoff return, 109 yards and a touchdown, an all-time record.
There's a photo right there.
Hey, we dancing back there. We celebrating.
109 yards.
I feel like you're about to air hump right there.
That's the whole. So we're
I was
looking
doing
at
to push it real good.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
The entire kick return team. That's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
51, 86, 44, 35, and Jacoby number 12 right there with his leg up, just feeling himself, feeling good.
Right.
After going 109 yards, coast to coast.
Brendon, with your ankles in that position and it looks like you're about to thrust.
Right.
Okay.
You can definitely see this on the YouTube version. So let me ask you, I don't think I've ever asked you this. What was more exciting, Devin's or Jacoby's?
Man, you know what? I think they probably felt the same. But to do it the first play of the game.
I was waiting for it.
It's never been done before. So the first play of the game. But like honestly, a lot of those emotions from the first Super Bowl with the Bears versus the Colts, like a lot of that stuff I don't remember. You know, I kind of suppressed. Like it really does hurt. You know what I'm saying? When you lose,
I agree.
You lose a chip, especially when you go through that whole season, a special season together. Like we're the best team pretty much all year. We started the season. I don't know if it was 8-0 or something like that, but we went on a very nice run.
Yeah.
So for it to end like that, you know, it was.
You beat my New Orleans Saints.
That was one of the best games. That was a fun game.
That was Reggie Bush's fault though, because Reggie Bush was like trying to taunt Brian Urlacher.
You guys are still mad about that. Clearly,
I'm not mad about it.
Was that
was the NFC Championship game. No, I'm saying he brought it on himself. It was just like he was a rookie. Everybody was like,
Urlacher was upset going into that game.
Okay.
Well, tell Urlacher to cover him.
Lack was upset.
We did, and we ended up covering them. So yeah, we got the last laugh for that game. So yeah, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody tripping on it. Don't be mad because we destroyed y'all.
Did we play y'all twice that year?
No. They played. We played the following year as well, late in the season, and Chicago won again.
Yeah.
In Soldier Field. For me at that point, I was just tired of going to the cold weather. Like why we keep going up here late in the season.
It's different. We definitely get some wins off that cold weather.
It is totally different. And until you've done it, you don't understand it.
So I'm retired. You're retired. You're retired. We've all been retired for a number of years, and respectively, we're on our second acts. Talk to us about your Peod Theory and how you use that in your second act.
Yeah, well, I like to say we just transition because when you say retired, it gives people the wrong idea. Like, no, we ain't retiring and we done. Like, we transitioning.
Yeah.
And so
words matter.
Yeah, they do matter.
I tell my wife that all the time. Words matter.
It sets an intention, right? It sets an energy. And so I always say, transition. And then when I go speak to guys and if I'm working with the Ravens or if I'm working with the Dolphins or certain teams that bring me back to talk to guys about entrepreneurship, I'm like, you don't retire. And so we're just going to transition. So let's just get the R word out of here and maybe not use it.
Okay.
So yeah, my Peod theory is that it's a bunch of peas and they all sit in this pod together. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to transition and how are you going to transition successfully? Right.
I'm going to write it down.
Take your time. Take your time. No. And so it's like the first thing is like, what are you passionate about? Right. So that's the first P, like your passion. And when you do things that you're passionate about, it's easy to wake up. It's easy to do them. It's easy to interact in those things. But is there a problem, which is the next P, with something that you're passionate about? Like, for example, you guys, like, guys are podcasting. Well, there's an opportunity here to get your message out, to talk, to entertain, to educate, and you're passionate about that, right? So the problem is that there's nobody like you two in this podcasting space. So you're solving a problem and you're providing some type of service, and there's a benefit there. So first you find the problem around the scope of something that you're passionate about. And then from there, it's going to fill your cup and it gives you purpose. So for me, I found my entrepreneurship, I found it in fitness franchising. And I love fitness. I was a fitness guy. I always would, Peanut would always see me working out. I'd be the first guy in there working out. I'd love the workouts, yada, yada, yada. Like, okay, so I'm passionate about working out. Well, problem in this? Well, because the unhealthiest country in the world, so there's an opportunity. Maybe I can provide some type of fitness service to the world. And if I can get people healthy, then that's going to give me purpose. And so those are the first 3 Ps. And then the next P is like, okay, well, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for profit? Are you doing it for philanthropy? So what's the reason that you're doing it? For me, I was doing it for profit, but in my instance, I was also making a lot of money doing it. Yeah. And helping people. So those are that's my Peod theory. And then the last P is just people, and working with people, helping people, providing a benefit to people, being a value add to people. And so, yeah, I talk about the Peod theory and trying to figure out like what's going to be next. And it's kind of like doing a SWOT analysis on yourself: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So I kind of like put these grids together, and you're kind of just creating a board and trying to figure it out. So this is kind of like the first step in telling younger guys that are transitioning out of ball. But the thing is that you never know when you're going to transition, right?
Never.
We're all fortunate enough to play double-digit years in the league. Yes. And if you look at the statistics, I think it's like less than 10%. It's 3%?
No. I was saying 3 years. I was saying 3 years. We played 3 years, but you're saying less than 10% to play double digits.
To play double digits, I don't know. It's like 6. I don't know. It's like somewhere 6 to 10% when you get to 10, 11, 12, 13, of course, right? So it's very rare.
Bro, we was super blessed.
Bro, we was out there like cats were going home and playing video games. We were going home to kids, like getting ready for I don't know, school night or whatever it was that we were going to be doing. But
that's
it was
just
very
another
different.
Crazy stat when it comes to like life, football, the journey in which
we're going to have Taylor look that up. The longevity of guys that play 10 plus years.
Don't be making Taylor nervous over there.
They sent it out though. They sent it out in the, like you get your little monthly packets or whatever.
Yes, you do.
They sent it out. I was like, man, this is pretty interesting. And then to go to 12 years, it was like even smaller numbers. It went from like less than 10% to like 2 to 3%.
Right. Yeah, it does.
Wild.
So, all right, tell me how the Orange Theory and West Coast Fitness partnerships, like how did it develop, and the next steps of what you're trying to build as an empire?
Yeah. So oddly enough, like, even with marriage equality, like there's an opportunity for me and I answered the call. With Orange Theory, there was an opportunity for me and I answered the call. Did
you do Orange Theory while you were playing?
No, I found it 3 days after the Super Bowl.
72 hours.
Cause I just think it's very interesting when like the guys that do Orange Theory versus like, oh, I'm just going to work out. It's just another lane. It's just it's different. And so that's why I want to know more of it and tell me how you found your way on it.
Yeah. So coincidentally enough, I played in the Super Bowl February 3rd, 2013. And then on February 6th, I went to Orange Theory for the first time and my ex had introduced it to me. So it's like Super Bowl on Sunday, Orange Theory on Wednesday. And when I went there, I was very surprised because when we work out, like we pay a lot of money to work out at these facilities and they give us these programs. We show up at whatever slotted time you want to show up. They have your lift program, they have your run program, or whatever it is. It might be position specific that day, or it might be regen, so recovery, whatever it is. But we pay a lot of money, like $1,000 a week to work out at some of these facilities. But you can go to Orange Theory and you'll get a whole program. You decide what time you want to work out. You get a whole program and it's whatever, like for West Coast Fitness, it's like $199 a month for unlimited, right?
Yeah.
And so you get this all-inclusive training program that's going to teach you everything, like whether you're a runner, jogger, power walker, and that's kind of your cardio or your anaerobic cardio side. And then your lifting side, we're going to work, full body. So once I saw the program, I'm like, man, like these people show up and they're happy and they're elated and they're crushing their goals and the energy is just amazing. The company was founded in Florida. I was living in Florida at the time. So I walked into the first Orange Theory that was ever created.
So it's a little special. Do you think it's about the community as well?
Absolutely.
Because I think that's really.
Have you ever been on Orange Theory?
I have. I've gone before. And
definitely good energy.
But there's 1,400 locations. I walked in, there was about 80 locations at the time, and I saw an opportunity. Yeah. And through doing my MBA and being able to look at P&Ls and business plans.
What's a P&L?
Profits and losses. Just looking at just the health of a business, you know, like expenses and.
Good job. Gary Madlon's going to love that.
Yeah. Expenses and revenue and all that stuff. So I did my MBA while I was playing George Washington University. So as I was transitioning out.
UW, Wale.
You know, Hunter was, so one of my teammates, Hunter Hillenmeyer, which I see kind of all the time now because we do some business together.
Yeah.
But we would be at practice and he would go to
Wharton.
He'd go to school.
No, he went to Kellogg, excuse me.
He went
to Kellogg in Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern.
Yeah. He went to Kellogg.
So he would go to school after practice, and he was our starting Sam linebacker for the Chicago Bears. I'm like,
I remember him.
I'm like, Hunter, you're going back to school? I'm like, why? Why would you want to go back to school? Like, you're set. I'm like, I'm never going back to school. Fast forward 5-6 years later, what was I doing? I was sitting in that classroom. I'm like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why Hunter's doing that.
I think I graduated, got my MBA, or not my MBA. I got my master's in Carolina, 2015.
Yeah, I think all you guys are crazy.
It's a different thing to do it while you're playing. And I make sure, the Sleep Monster's undefeated, so I have to sit front row.
Yeah.
So I sit front row, and then, of course, the professor's going to be like, oh, Brendon, so you guys are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. How's that going to be? But no, it was a great experience, but it taught me really how to look at business a different way.
Yeah.
And even like the NFL is a franchise. Every team is a franchise. So I started to put my business cap on and my owner's cap. And so when I walked into Orange Theory, I saw a great opportunity to be able to bring Orange Theory back to California. At the time, they hadn't had a California location. And now in our portfolio, we have 50 Orange Theories. The bulk of them are in California. We have 10 in Cincinnati, Ohio. But I was just able to really just dissect the business. I saw a great opportunity. And we started with one. And through M&A, mergers and acquisitions, we were acquired by a private equity firm. And we were able to scale up and buy more locations.
So, that's dope. I mean, talking about it all, was California always your main goal? And taking it out there because you just saw the opportunity like you're talking about. And I also want to know is your goal, and you've said it publicly, is you want to get to 100 Orange Theories. And have you got to that? How many have you got to? And also, are you going to, how close are you? Or is your goal still the $300 million valuation? Is that still your target?
Man, you did some research, didn't you?
We read a little bit.
So, man, y'all.
I got Thomas
y'all
in there.
Thomas, okay. Shout out to Thomas. You doing some diligence over there.
I mean, I'm still asking the questions, but yes, shout out to Thomas.
Right. So the landscape has changed. I think the thing is that you have to be able to be malleable and change as the landscape changes. So COVID really changed the fitness business.
It made everything different. I agree.
So that it changed. And so I got to be able to change. I got to be able to adjust. So I don't think we'll be able to get to 100 Orange Theories now, but I pivoted. And so I still sit on the board with my company, West Coast Fitness. We actually have a board call today. But so I also invested into another franchise that's called Kid Strong. Okay. And we currently have 3 units open. We have 3 units in progress. And so I think between the two, I'll be able to get to 100 between the two and still get to that valuation that I'm looking for.
So tell me what Kids Strong is. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So it's an accelerated childhood development program, where we focus on.
Are you guys lifting weights or
running?
So,
bending, squatting.
So the kids are doing milestone-based activities. Yeah. So, like if you're 2 years old, you should be able to jump and land off of 2 feet.
Yes.
As you start to get into
all
kindergarten.
All kids can't do that though. Like
all kids can't do that, but
we got to just face reality. Like
you're right.
Baby
all kids
is not
can't do it.
Athletic.
But just like everything is not for everybody though. Everything's not for everybody.
Your baby gonna be on the sideline holding the sticks. Like let's we gotta call it how it is.
Football's not for everybody. But the majority of kids, milestone based, the majority of healthy young kids can jump and land off of 2 feet.
Yes.
When you start to get into kindergarten and first grade, you start to work on penmanship. Well, what makes your hand strong? Well, hanging does. So we have the kids hang. So we do milestone-based fitness for the children that are going to help them and apply to life. So they also, we work on their character. So they have to present and they have to talk in front of a crowd, in front of their other pupils in the class. So it's like, imagine we're working on all these different things from brain, body, and character to develop those things in your children from age 1 all the way to age 11 when they age out.
Yeah. Now, are you still investing with Tonal?
I am still investing with Tonal, but I'm not working with Tonal anymore. Okay. So I mean, my money's there. The money's just sitting in.
We're rooting for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not always going to win, but once again,
I mean, you're wearing a Tesla shirt.
I am wearing a Tesla shirt.
I mean, you're all over the place.
All in.
I love it.
You got to have a diversified portfolio.
Come on now.
Diversification.
Come on
I'm
now.
with you.
You hear me? Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Come on.
But everything's not going to be a winner. So you got to take, you got to
love it.
You see an opportunity. You think you have a chance. You look at the business model. You look at who's running the company. Do they have, a great leader, a great CEO, a great founder? Is it a great product? What's the market? What's the landscape like? So the fitness landscape has changed a lot. So, you got to be able to mold and bend and
That's looking at your W's and L's. What is that? My wins and losses.
It's smart. It's smart. Staying right there, staying current.
Yeah. I'm with that. I like that though. What's it? Talk to me, so I feel like I can still play. I look like I can still play, but technically I probably still can't play. I can get 3 practices in. No doubt. No doubt. I can still no doubt. Thomas, I can still dunk. I can still dunk. I can dunk vertical right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just trying to tell you.
You can still dunk, Peanut?
I can still dunk. I can still dunk.
On a 10-foot goal.
On a 10-foot goal, vertically. Yeah. It might take me 4 or 5 times, but in the end, I'm gonna still get it done. No doubt. I can do that. My question is, we're all fitness gurus. We all work out. What's it been like for you traveling around the world, speaking and preaching the gospel of fitness to people around the world? How has that been?
I think it's been, I'm kind of a testament of what I'm speaking about, know? So it's like I always try to be an example when it comes to fitness, but it's so much more than just the way that I look. It's, I was talking to Jocelyn, it's like, okay, well, like, what are my organs like? Like, what does my face look like? What does my appearance look like? So it's a holistic approach. And for me, it's longevity. So when I think about my fitness, like, how do I get to 100 and be functional and be happy and be healthy and be pain-free? Can I get to 130 and still do that? People are like, no, take me out. I don't want to make it to 100, but I want to be like
Old Testament right there. That's
I want to be
Abraham.
Yeah, I want to be able. I want to be capable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think about everything. So it's diet, it's sleep, it's like what am I putting in my body in terms of supplementation? Stress levels, happiness levels, so there's a lot of different things that I take into it. It's not just fitness. I think, in the grand scheme of things, fitness might be the 3rd or 4th most important thing is you're working out. But it's like, what's your sleep like? What's your diet like? What's your stress levels like? Pressure can bust pipes. We know stress can cause cancer. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different variables and things that I like to talk about and bring to fruition. But it's more than just fitness. I think fitness is kind of, for me, it's more of a stress reliever and a release. And then it helps me get my rocks off too a little bit, like you talking about dunking or whatnot. Like it just makes my quality of life better. But I want to be able to, I still want to be able to move some things and do some things and keep the abs a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
BA was always in the cutoff shirt in the locker room,
Oh, Thomas,
are you ready?
He's queuing.
Oh no!
Are you ready?
Oh no!
I mean, you talk about it.
So what we're looking at right now is VA.
Hey,
everything.
I got the hoochie daddy shorts on. You know what I'm saying?
He walking in slow motion.
I mean, the shades.
Hey,
the shades.
Shout out to my son Amadeus Prime for filming that right there. That's not
YouTube,
professional.
You can see this.
Let's pull him up a little bit more.
Look at the snake. Look at the thiz face on him, like the thiz face.
You look like a baseball player.
You're not my friend, like a Latino Dominican.
Yeah.
Oh man, y'all had to just put me on. It's okay.
What do you mean we put you on? You put that out there for the world to see. It's you put it out there. We didn't.
I mean, I didn't.
We do our research.
I mean, there's a lot of different things you could have posted on there. You could have put a picture with me and Obama up there if you really wanted to hype me up.
Yeah, that's boring.
We could have did that. That's boring.
That's boring.
That is
but
boring.
I own that though. I own it.
The people want to see that. I mean, it helps though that you are a fit guy. I wouldn't respect you if you had a fitness of you talk about all this Orange Theory and you was like 500 pounds. Like I'm not working on it.
Hey, but did your football coach play football though? Did Bob Babbage play football?
He did in high school. He did in college. Most college coaches most coaches,
pro coaches, it got to the college level.
Coaches, they got to the college level.
There's not a lot of Ron Rivera's out there.
No, it's that's what I'm saying. Like it's right.
Right. So I mean, you can teach people how to be fit. You don't have to be an example like that, but it does help to be an example.
So let me here's
you should not apologize for that.
I'm not apologizing. I said I own that.
No, for sure.
I think it's even funnier because as we look through your Instagram, you got certain videos, some similar to that. Then you got a serious face. And I'm like, all right, so what are we selling here? Like, what are we doing? I love it. I think it's awesome that.
I had to rebrand the IG. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had to rebrand. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, it's a lot of abs.
CrossFit. Are they athletes or are they just people that work out?
Oh, no. They're athletes. The CrossFitters are athletes.
This is a big deal here. So for me personally, Sean Payton broke his leg one year. Not paying attention. Right. Somebody fell on the sidelines, broke his leg.
He's a big CrossFitter.
He's a huge CrossFitter, right? So he went into this whole CrossFit thing where like he's just going to recover. And that's what he got through. He got stronger. He got his lower body got stronger. For him, he got stronger. And then he was like, all right, instead of the normal conditioning test where we're doing 300-yard shuttles or whatever that is to get ready for the season, we're going to do like CrossFit games. So you had to do like so many hang cleans, so many like power cleans from the floor.
Right.
Then you had to do like these jump over the bar.
Sean ain't athletic, man.
It's not even about that. The bottom line is this. He set a time for all the NFL guys. We all had to hit these certain times.
Right.
To like do this. And then he had all his CrossFit buddies come in from his big gym.
And they destroyed the NFL times. No,
the NFL times destroyed theirs.
Well, the pro CrossFitters, though.
Right. I think it's a total different battle. Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. It was just funny to see because like the original thought process goes exactly where you were. It was like, these guys are going to destroy whatever we did. And then you come to find out, no, actually, we're still superior athletes and we know how to almost sudden, like when we get really tired, we just push through.
Yeah.
Like that's just what we do as athletes. Right. And it seems like you've done that in business. You've found a way to be successful in other lanes. I think that's a beautiful thing. And what you're talking about that, you balled out at UCLA. You know, we can go all the way back to the USC game where you had like 4 sacks. All you did was just eat, and this is what you were. You were a great player there. And then you found a way to be successful through the Canadian League. You bounced around from CFL to other leagues in football, just trying to make it. You went to NFL Europe, right?
Right.
And then you find your way, a couple practice squads. It didn't matter about anything. You're one of those that like a testament that I'm going to find a way to be successful at whatever I'm doing, no matter what. How does that happen? How could you share your story or say a couple of words of advice to all those that want to be successful, whether it's life, whether it's football, all the different avenues? What was the one piece of advice that you say like, okay, through it all, this is what's got me through it? Yeah,
I think I've always been an underdog and I've always been underestimated, but I never would quit. So, I just have that underdog, that big heart and that big fight mentality. So for me, I'm always failing forward. And if I'm not failing at what I'm doing, then I'm not the moonshot goal isn't high enough. And so I think a lot of people, when they fail, they think that failure, means that you did something wrong. Well, what's the process once you fail? It's like, do you take notes? Do you regroup? Or do you have baby steps? Like Elon Musk, when he launched his first rocket, he's like, I just want to get this rocket off the platform.
Yeah. Right.
The goal isn't to the goal is to get to Mars, but I just want this rocket to get off the platform. So he knows like, okay, I need this rocket to last 15 seconds, just launch. Then the next rocket's like, okay, this next rocket's going to last 1 minute. Then eventually I'm going to take a rocket up and I'm going to land it. So I think, you can quit at just getting off the platform, or you can fail forward and you continue to fight and strive. And so everyone has different goals, different aspirations. I've always had big goals, big dreams, big aspirations as a kid that grew up in the projects of Chicago to play for the Chicago Bears. When I moved out of Chicago, the Bears had won their last Super Bowl with Walter Payton and Jim McMahon, that amazing team, right? Mike Singletary, a linebacker. So for me to finally make it, I was like, man, I got to be a Chicago Bear. I got to play in the NFL, and eventually I reached that goal. But I got cut 3 times before I even made my first NFL team. In fact, the Bears was one of the teams that cut me.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, when I was, it was Urlacher's first year. I was actually with the Bears.
Okay.
I signed with them. So 2000 was the year. Yeah. So they cut me that year. And then it was just kind of poetic justice that I came back and they traded for me in 2005. But I think just failing forward is very important. And but you have to do self-analysis as well.
For sure.
You can't just think like you're going to fail. And if you do the same thing, then you're probably just going to fail again. So you do that self-analysis and fail forward. Take those notes. What lessons did you learn?
Yeah.
And so I usually don't say losses. I say lessons instead of losses. So you have wins and lessons.
Yeah.
And that's basically just trying again and not giving up, being that underdog. So it kind of all like the DNA was there for me.
Yeah, for sure. So being that we are in LA,
thanks for your answer.
This is he's a big Kobe fan. And a testament by you being an underdog, and I know Kobe Bryant had the late great Kobe Bryant had that Mamba mentality. Talk to us about what Kobe meant to you and how he inspires you.
Well, I was actually at a special conference for Orange Theory. But yeah, I was on a plane when I actually heard what happened. And I was flying back from an Orange Theory conference, like a special conference for Orange Theory. And then I'd heard what happened. And like you hear about celebrities and people dying all the time, but Kobe was such an instrumental piece of LA and getting LA a championship and whatnot. But man, I cried when Kobe passed away. And I'm friends with his sister, Shea Bryant. But just to see everything that he did, he'd be on campus when I was at UCLA as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he'd be there.
Working out, going to the gym.
Yeah, he'd be doing that, but he'd be doing some other things on campus too.
It's a nice campus. I've been out there. It ain't bad. It's not bad.
He was definitely working out and playing, but he was enjoying, I mean, at the time he was a teenager.
Yeah. He was,
Yeah, it was before he was married and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just the Mamba mentality and everything that he's done, but then to also see him transform and continue to level up and get better, because he had mentioned a gay slur during a game and he caught a bunch of flack for it. Yeah. And what did he do? He stepped up and he embraced it. And so he leaned into the gay community and he started donating and learning and started preaching love when it comes to the LGBTQ community. And then he stopped saying any gay slurs and stuff like that. So to see somebody that was already that great and there was still space for greatness, that says a lot. Like, what if you're good? If you're just good, then there's a high ceiling for you to improve and to get better. And so don't just rest on your laurels and think that good is good enough. Just like Kobe was great, but being where he was, that wasn't good enough. So I think he taught us a lot of lessons and very instrumental person in LA. I actually brought my daughter to the crash site.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just up north here, north of LA, and brought him to the crash site. And brought my daughter to the crash site, and we brought flowers for him and his daughter. So yeah, it was a sad time, but yeah, and I still think LA is still affected by it. But yeah, it's rare to have a person that amazing, and it sucks. It was way too soon that we lost such a special person.
For sure. So here's a question that we never ask anybody on the show, right? You've had
why me?
No, it's
why me, Cacahuate?
I'm just it's just something.
Are you just feeling it?
I'm just feeling it right now, off the cuff, freestyling. Okay. Something we never ask anybody on the show.
Close my book. Then.
Yeah.
Throw it to the side.
Is this his ADD kicking in?
Possibly so. Possibly.
So you've had a very successful life, great career in the NFL, business wise. You're killing it right now in the fitness world, business world. Excuse me. If you had a Mount Rushmore, 4 people on Mount Rushmore. If you had a Mount Rushmore of mentors, who would they be?
Of mentors, huh?
Mentors. Yeah, who've helped you just throughout life. Yeah, just came up with that.
That's a good one. You know why? Because I've never really had a mentor. And there's one person that's been very instrumental in my life.
Okay. It doesn't have to be mentors, it's just like people that have helped you, that people just have been instrumental, or like people that you're like, yo, man, this person, that person, that person, and that person. But you only get 4.
There's been pivotal moments.
Okay.
There's definitely been pivotal moments.
Give me 4
and I think
pivotal
you can tell,
moments.
like, I kind of like marched to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah.
But the most instrumental person in my success is my older brother, Obafemi. And he's 18 months older than me. And everything that I ever did, he was kind of the icebreaker. And so he would clear the path, and it was harder for him to do it, but I eventually did it, and he made it easier for me. So being that he was my brother at my brother always, but at some junctures he was my father, my protector, helping me get tryouts and workouts with NFL teams and whatnot. So he did a lot for me.
Is he still that same impact on your life? Do you feel like it?
I think he is, but you know, being that he was 18 months older, which isn't a lot, but when you're a kid, like when one of you was 7 and one of you is 5, that's a big gap. You know what I'm saying? He's like that's 25% older than me. You know what I'm saying? But now the gap is kind of shrunk and we're more so on the same playing field and we kind of sharpen each other. But there was always more competition in my house. Yeah. Because him and I were just at each other's throats all the time. And then eventually we figured it out that like it's me and you against everybody. It's not me and you against each other, you know? So yeah, he was probably the most important. And I think the next pivotal moment for me was probably in 2008. And I was back at UCLA and I was visiting my linebacker coach, Bobby Field. And he's the assistant, at the time he was the assistant athletic director. And he was my linebacker coach at UCLA. And then eventually he was assistant head coach at UCLA. And he's been in kind of sports and academia his whole career. And I said, Coach, you know, it's 2008. I've been playing ball for 5 years now. I'm, you know, just what's next? You know, I'm trying to figure out what's next for me. What advice or what, you know, what could you tell me to help me in that department? And I'm thinking about, you know, I want to be in athletics and higher education. You know, maybe I want to be an athletic director one day. He's like, Brendon, go get your MBA. Go back to school and get your MBA. And that's exactly what I did. And so that was a pivotal moment. I remember that conversation. And I remember doing it and completing it.
Why did he say the NBA was so important for you at the time? Do you think he saw that? Did he just see like you were just different? You needed to be more focused on that lane of business. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so. Because I already had the athletic acumen and the athletic education.
Yeah.
So he wanted me to get the business acumen, and I wasn't, you know, at the time there wasn't. Now there's a lot of internships and a lot of different things that they do for additional education. Like we didn't have any of that stuff.
No.
When we were in the league back then. So he's like, yeah, just go get your MBA. That's probably the best thing you can
become more whole, like holistic, and then also business savvy as well.
Did you get your master's degree? No. Oh, okay.
No. Just us, Peanut. Just me and you.
Just us. Sorry, I'm just throwing it out there.
Anybody else in the studio have a master's? Just me and Peanut.
No. Yeah.
Man, you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
hella smart, man.
It's all good. All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. Oladele, thank you. That was really good. I don't know if you got all 4. Did you?
No, I mean, I think those were kind of like the two kind of things.
His brother twice and the coach twice.
Okay.
They got 2 faces on the mountain.
That's how I'm cool with that. I just didn't know if he finished up.
I mean, and then like watching the way that the Ravens run their organization and their program. So Dick Cass was very, you know, there's some pivotal moments with Dick Cass as well. But there's, you know, I pretty much march to the beat of my own drum a lot. And that's why I'm kind of, you know, I'm kind of a different guy, kind of like Kakawate is, you know?
Different. I like it. BA, hey man, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Much continued success in the Orange Theory.
And everything else, man. You're very diversified. I love your story. I love your journey. Continue to beat, you know, go off your own beat of your own drum. I think it's been a blessing and a really good thing for you, man. So shout out to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share my story and get my message out there.
Hey, I'm Peanut. This is my guy, Roman Black and White Harper.
So
salt and pepper.
He's so random. All right, thank you guys as always, man. For all of our listeners and everybody out there watching, wherever you pick up your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio Podcasts, continue to take a listen. Give us a 5-star rating. Shout out to those that are hitting that button. Follow. Give us a review. Continue to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. We're going to continue to spread the word, continue to share more stories like Brendon Ayanbadejo, and continue to shine the light on the transition of all of our second acts as we all continue to grow and be better by sharing each other's stories. So, Peanut, tell them what we're doing, man.
We done. That's it. I'm Peanut, NFL Player Second Acts Podcast, and we out. That was what he talking about. Tell him what we doing.
I'm sorry. No, that's exactly what I wanted.
Out, baby. That's what.
That's exactly what I wanted you to do.